Why people take offence and how it affects you. Taking offence has become a bit of a national pastime, hasn't it? Like queuing or drinking tea, it's something we Brits do exceptionally well. But why do we take offence so easily, and what does it mean for our everyday lives? Let's delve into this peculiar human behaviour and explore how it affects not just the offendee, but also the unsuspecting offenders among us. The Offence Olympics. It's a sunny day in Surrey and Mrs. Thompson is hosting a garden party. She's gone all out, cucumber sandwiches, Victorian sponge and even a Pim's fountain. Enter Mr. Green, who casually remarks, "Oh, I see you've opted for store-bought pastries this time." Mrs. Thompson's smile falters. She feels a hot wave of offence wash over her. How dare he suggest her pastries aren't homemade? She spends the rest of the party simmering, shooting Mr. Green icy glares and recounting the incident to everyone within earshot. By the end of the day, what could have been a delightful gathering turns into a tense standoff worthy of an EastEnders episode. The root cause: perception and interpretation. Why did Mrs. Thompson take offence? According to UK-based research, our propensity to take offence often stems from our perceptions and interpretations of others' words and actions. We're wired to seek validation and fear judgment, making us hypersensitive to potential slights. In a study by the University of Kent, researchers found that individuals with lower self-esteem are more likely to take offence as they interpret neutral or ambiguous remarks as personal attacks. Essentially, offence taken is less about what's said and more about how it's received. Mr. Green's comment was likely innocent, but Mrs. Thompson's insecurities turned it into an affront. But what about when offence is intentional? The dark arts of needling. Now, let's consider when people intend to cause offence. Enter Miss Sharp, who takes pride in her biting wit. At the same garden party, she might say, "Mrs. Thompson, your pastries are almost as charming as your last haircut." Miss Sharp's comment is a thinly veiled insult designed to provoke. Why do some people go out of their way to cause offence? Often, it stems from their own insecurities. They seek to elevate themselves by putting others down. Research from the University of Manchester indicates that individuals who frequently insult others are often dealing with underlying issues of their own, such as low self-worth or past traumas. The ripple effect, how it affects you. When someone takes offence, it doesn't just impact them, it sends ripples through their social circles. Suddenly, everyone is on edge, afraid of saying the wrong thing. It's like walking on eggshells at Mrs. Thompson's garden party. One false move and you're the next target. For the person who inadvertently caused the offence, it's equally distressing. Mr. Green now finds himself in an awkward position, unsure of how to mend fences. He's replaying the conversation in his head, wondering where he went wrong and dreading future encounters with Mrs. Thompson. Turning intentional offence around, a masterclass in grace. So, how do you handle it when someone like Miss Sharp intentionally tries to offend you? Here are a few strategies to turn the situation around without taking offence. 1. Deflect with humour. Responding with humour can disarm the offender. Mrs. Thompson might reply, "Well, Miss Sharp, my pastries and my haircut were both done by professionals, unlike your commentary." 2. Stay unruffled. Showing that you're unfazed by the insult often takes the wind out of the offender's sails. Calmly say, "Thank you for your input," and moving on can show that their words have no power over you. 3. Ask for clarification. Sometimes asking the offender to explain their comments can highlight its pettiness. "What do you mean by that, Miss Sharp?" Puts her on the spot and may make her realise how unkind her words were. 4. Empathise and redirect. Acknowledge the attempt to hurt, but redirect the conversation. It seems like you're having a rough day, Miss Sharp. Can I get you some more Pims? This shows compassion and changes the topic to something more pleasant. So, what's the solution to this epidemic of offence taking? Here are a few practical tips garnished with a sprinkle of humour. 1. Assume positive intent. Next time someone makes a seemingly critical comment, assume they mean well. Imagine Mr. Green's remark is a clumsy attempt at small talk rather than a jab at your baking skills. 2. Communicate openly. If you're offended, don't bottle it up like an over-enthusiastic wine connoisseur. Politely express your feelings. Mr. Green, I must confess your comment about the pastries stung a bit. They are homemade, you know. 3. Cultivate self-esteem. Work on building your self-esteem. Engage in activities that make you feel good about yourself, whether it's knitting, garden, perfecting that Victorian sponge. 4. Practice empathy. Put yourself in other person's shoes. Imagine the horror Mr. Green felt when he realised his comment had upset Mrs. Thompson. A little empathy goes a long way. In the end, taking offence is a natural part of the human interaction, but by understanding its roots and effects, we can turn these moments of offence into opportunities for growth and connection. Whether it's a comment on your outfit, a misunderstood joke, or a veiled insult, we have the power to respond with grace and resilience. By cultivating a resilient mindset, mastering the art of turning intentional slights into moments of grace, and supporting each other, we can navigate the social minefield of life with humour and poise. Remember, as the great John Rahm might say, don't wish it were easier, wish you were less easily offended. With empathy, open communication and positive reinforcement, we can create an environment where everyone feels valued and respected. Here's to a more understanding and supportive world.